My name is Charmaine Holly, and today I will be presenting on globalization through the lens of sociological theory. During my presentation, I am really excited to share with you some of the ways that I have connected social theories to the work that I do in my business Change is Inevitable with young people and also mental health communities. Emmanuel Wallerstein, World Systems Theory, he really pointed out a lot. He broke it down into three parts: the core, the semi-peripheral, and peripheral nations. I may be saying that wrong, please forgive me. The core nations hold the most power, controlling trades and resources, while the peripheral ones are left dependent. What does that mean? To me, what it means in the work that I do is I think that the same structures and systems are not fair. With those, you find less resources that influence the ones who really need it, and you see more resources for the ones who really do not need it, which doesn't make any sense. Wallerstein's theory reminds me that global inequality mirrors what we see locally. Those at the top hold the power, and those at the margins, which is poverty, are expected to adapt. That's something that I have never agreed with, and that is why I do this work today to continue to try to push that forward. And then we get into C. Wright Miller's The Power Elite. C. Wright Miller said that our personal struggles are often tied to larger public issues, which is real. That's the sociological imagination. He also talked about the power elite, those in politics, the military, and corporate sectors who shape decisions that affect everyone else. When I look at politics and in child welfare or in juvenile justice, I see the same dynamics. I see that leadership decisions at the federal level directly impact the families and youth I serve every single day. Far as in my advocacy work and prevention work, I see that young people with lived experience, they do not have those same authorities in those decision makings. Whether it's developing workforce programs for young people aging out of foster care or helping systems design trauma informed prevention frameworks. I try to make policies reflect people real life where they are, not just the statistics. Mills, the how I connected Mills with this is he just reminded me that the most powerful social changes happen when those most impacted help lead those type of conversations. David Harvard explained how capitalism constantly searches for new markets, and that's what globalization does. It promotes free trade, privilege, and deregulation, but it also widens the gap between the rich and the poor. Think about large corporations building up smaller local businesses, or how housing and educations are becoming more expensive. That is what I mean when I say David Harrod explained how capitalism is constantly changing into those new markets. Even if you think about some communities nowadays, when you go, you see like some that looks run down and some that looks very much so like they shouldn't be there. Right, I'm talking about that. I've seen how work that I've done in prevention has fallen through the cracks when funding models favor outputs over inputs. That has never worked. Harvard reminded me that markets alone can't heal communities. We have to lead with equity and care to see that change. And I put a picture of like, markets and stuff like that. And then we're going to go into Emily Durkheim. Globalization can speed this up. New technologies, remote work, and culture shifts can leave communities feeling very disconnected. For example, social media connects us globally, but often leaves people feeling isolated. We can mention a lot of them. TikTok, you see people have went famous, but then you also see people who have been challenged by the fear of feeling idolized or made fun of, or went viral because of something that they shared online. In my work, I feel like when I meet with young people who feel this deeply on advocating on social media, I try to move between systems or placements and try to find that stability in a world that keeps changing. My organization focuses on helping young people and also organizations regain the sense of purpose and belonging. And as Durkheim would always say, connection is what holds society together. Oh, and I put a picture over there. And now we're going to move into Irving Goffman. Goffman compared social life to a play. We all perform roles depending on where we are. Our front stage is what we show to the world. Our backstage is where we keep our real selves. I know that I have shared a story where I went on a date and that date went left. But also sometimes the date went really good. But I'm married now. But I'm just saying I have had a lot of those experiences where I showed up not being who I am because I did want to leave a good impression, only to get back in my car and then feel like I was being fake because that really wasn't who I was. So that leads to my point with globalization and social media have made that stage worldwide. We now perform not just for our community, but for a global audience. Even in my professional work, I balance these roles, presenting as a business owner, a social worker, and an advocate while staying authentic to who I am. It is a lot. But that plays back on what Goffman's theory was. It reminds us to be mindful of how much energy goes into performing and to make spaces for authenticity behind the scenes. And that's why I got the little picture to show like all the social medias and stuff like that. Oh, okay. And now we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up. I just want to touch on some conclusions. These are theories of globalization. Each theory highlighted key dimensions of globalization to me and how I kind of tied them together. When you think about it, when we bring all of these theories that I have listed together, we see that globalization, is not just about trade or technology. It's about people, power, and connection. I started off by Wallerstein. He shows the structure of inequality. Mill reveals who holds the power when it comes to poor and rich. Harvey exposed how profit drives policy. Who's at the table? Who's at the front line telling it? Do you have lived experience to even tell that story? And then we go into Durkheim, how he highlights change impacting belonging, and then Goffman. I hope you guys enjoyed this.